Good morning, Journey Kids. I'm Miss Lena, and today I just want to make sure that we know two things about emotions.
Buenos días, esta es la señora Lena. Hoy hablaremos sobre nuestras emociones. Hay dos cosas muy importantes para aprender sobre las emociones o los sentimientos.
The first thing is that emotions are made by God. In fact, Jesus himself felt a lot of different emotions when he was on earth. It's a picture of how God is, and he created us to feel these emotions. And sometimes those emotions are really, really big, and they run really deep in our hearts. And that's okay.
Lo primero es que las emociones son creadas por Dios. Jesús mismo estaba lleno de emociones diferentes cuando estaba en la tierra. Algunas veces las emociones pueden ser tan grandes, y eso está bien.
And the second thing I want us to learn about emotions is that they really should drive us to God. If we're scared, that should drive us to God. If we're hurt, that should drive us to God. When we're happy, we should give praises to God. All of our emotions are designed to lead us to God.
Lo segundo es que las emociones deben llevarnos hacia Dios. Si tenemos miedo, deberemos correr hacia Dios. Si estamos enojados, debemos hablar con Dios. Si estamos contentos, debemos alabar a Dios. Todas nuestras emociones están diseñadas a acercarnos a Dios.
Today, we're going to be talking about one really hard emotion, and that emotion is anger. Sometimes we feel anger about things that are done wrong. We get angry when someone does something to us that we didn't deserve, or we get angry when we see somebody treating someone unfairly. Sometimes anger is actually appropriate. It makes us angry when someone is being mistreated because it makes us help that person. It makes us want to reach out and stop things that are happening that are wrong. And sometimes we feel anger because we've been wronged and we want the other person to pay. And today I want to talk a little bit about our responses to that anger. We can't always make ourselves stop emotion. I don't ever want to feel angry again. I'm never going to feel it. That's not really healthy. What is healthy is to learn how to appropriately respond to anger. When you're angry, what should you do?
Hoy estaremos hablando sobre la emoción del coraje o el enojo. Podemos sentir coraje cuando vemos a alguien tratar a otra persona injustamente. Y eso es coraje apropiado. Nos hace querer detener las cosas que están pasando si algo está mal. También podemos enojarnos cuando sentimos injusticia hacia nosotros. No podemos parar las emociones de coraje o enojo, pero es muy saludable saber cómo responder a nuestro enojo.
Well, I want to give you a couple tips. And before I give you those tips, I want to teach you a little bit about what happens in your brain sometimes when you get angry. There's a piece of our brain that's called, and this is a fancy word, amygdala. Amygdala. And that amygdala is constantly scanning, and you don't even know it. It's looking all over the place for danger, for areas where you're not safe. And you don't even know you're doing it. It's like blinking, it's like breathing. You don't even know your amygdala is working, but it's always scanning for danger. And when it senses danger, whether it's real or not, sometimes your body responds in ways that you can't really control. Sometimes it makes you want to fight, and sometimes it just makes you freeze, and you can't move, and you can't think of what to say, and you can't think of what to do, and you just start to get so angry and you can't think. Sometimes it makes you want to run. When that amygdala senses danger and you get angry or afraid, you just run. Sometimes it makes you feel like you'll do whatever anybody tells you to just to stop them from being angry. And your amygdala will make you kind of just do whatever you're being told to do, even if it's something you don't want to do. The amygdala is meant to keep us safe. It's meant to keep us alive. It's meant to help us run away really fast if we start getting chased by a dog, or it helps us fight if someone's trying to hurt us. And sometimes it's a good thing to have that amygdala there. It's designed by God to keep us safe. But what if our amygdala thinks we're not safe, but really we are? Because the truth is, the amygdala can be tricked. Sometimes we can get tricked into thinking that we're not safe when really we are, and it's hard sometimes to control emotions. Now, if you're in those situations, like you're in the middle of a fractions test, and you start to get a little nervous because you don't know the next answer, you're not in any danger, but your amygdala sometimes can think, oh, this is not safe, you're not safe. Well, you're in a classroom, you're safe. You just are getting nervous about the test, or getting angry that you don't know the answer, or getting worried and nervous that when you get home, your mom and dad is going to yell at you. And all those emotions make your amygdala think that you're not safe.
Existe un pedazo en nuestro cerebro que se llama la amígdala. Esta parte en nuestro cerebro siempre está alerta al peligro. Está constantemente buscando saber si estamos seguros o no. Si la amígdala cree que no estamos seguros, toma control y peleamos, corremos, nos quedamos quietos o nos sometemos.
To try to help calm the amygdala down, I have 4 suggestions for you. And they're very simple and they're very easy. And it helps that amygdala that thinks, I'm not safe, warning, warning, I'm not safe, to calm down and just relax, so that you can then start to actually recognize, I'm in a classroom with a fractions test in front of me. I'm gonna be okay.
A veces nuestra amígdala es engañada. Piensa que no estamos seguros cuando en realidad sí estamos seguros. Podemos estar sentados haciendo una tarea y de pronto nos sentimos enojados por no saber la respuesta, o sentirnos con miedo al pensar si nuestros padres nos gritarán si fallamos en algo. Allí es cuando la amígdala se apodera y nos hace sentir con ganas de pelear o correr, aún estando seguros en donde estemos. Hoy yo les quiero dar alguna forma de calmarnos. Pause.
Number 1, take a deep breath. I heard this when I was growing up, but I didn't know why it worked. Because see, your amygdala can't think about 2 things at once. So if you make your brain count and think about breathing, it can't also think about how angry or how afraid you are.
Aquí hay 4 sugerencias que puedes tratar cuando empezamos a sentir coraje o miedo.
So you take a deep breath and you think about all the things that are happening while you're breathing, and it makes your mind think about that, and your amygdala will calm down. So let's practice. Let's take a second and let's think about how our breath works. It's going in my nose and down my mouth and into my lungs, and my lungs are expanding, and then I push it back out and it comes out through my mouth. Sometimes you can even count. Count how many seconds it takes to breathe in and count how many seconds it takes to breathe out. Mine was about 4 seconds in and 4 seconds out. You go ahead and try it again. That's taking a breath. The second suggestion, when you feel really angry or really nervous and afraid, but really you're safe, is to count.
Número 1. Respira profundo. Tu amígdala no puede pensar en 2 cosas a la vez. Cuando te obligas a pensar en tu respiración, tu amígdala no puede pensar en otra cosa. Inténtalo. Cuenta hasta 4 inhalando y luego cuenta hasta 4 exhalando.
The second thing you can do when you're feeling really angry or really afraid is you can use your muscles. When you are using your muscles and pushing or pulling on something, it makes your amygdala think about that instead of anything else. and it slowly calms it down. So if you go to a wall and you push it as hard as you can, or my favorite, which is to lift up on your chair, and while you're doing it, you're thinking about how strong it is. You're thinking about how you could never push that wall, or I could never lift this chair up with me sitting in it. And I want you to think about how strong it is. So try that now. Try to pull up on your chair and just keep thinking about how strong it is.
La segunda sugerencia para ayudarte cuando estás enojado o tienes miedo es usar los músculos. Empuja hacia la pared o sentado en tu silla, trata de levantarla. Trata de levantarla aún cuando estés sentado en ella y verás cuán pesada es. No podrás levantar tu propio peso mientras estás sentado en la silla. Trata de pensar cuán fuerte es.
The third thing you can do has to do with space. Whether you are walking away and getting in a different space, sometimes you can't always walk away. If you're in the middle of a fractions test and you start to get angry or scared about not knowing an answer, you can't just get up and leave. But what you can do is you can think about the space. You can think about how your feet are touching the ground. You can think about how the space around you is filled with dust. Maybe you can see it from the sun. Or maybe you can think about the space around you as how soft your socks are. And it might help you to think about how your feet are attached to your shoes, and your shoes are attached to the ground, and the ground is attached to cement, and that cement is sitting on top of dirt, and that dirt is sitting on top of the crust of the earth, and inside the crust of the earth is an even hotter, redder center of the earth, and that's where volcanoes come from. And as you're thinking through where you are in the space of your room, and you're thinking about what's underneath you all the way down to the center of the earth, that's the only thing your mind can think about. And it can't also be scared and angry about your fractions test, because it's too busy, your amygdala is too busy thinking about all the things that are under your feet. So go ahead and try that now. Go ahead and close your eyes and think about your feet. Are they in shoes? Are those shoes on the floor? And what do you think is under the cement floor in Journey Kids? And then what do you think is underneath that? And then going down further, what's underneath that? Maybe there's a diamond mine all the way down hundreds of feet, way below our feet.
La tercera sugerencia, cuando estás enojado o con miedo, es pensar en el espacio que te rodea. Puedes irte de tu cuarto cuando estás enojado, pero aún así puedes pensar en el espacio que te rodea. Piensa cómo tus pies están dentro de tus zapatos y cómo tus zapatos están sobre el suelo, y debajo del suelo o cemento hay gravilla y tierra, y debajo de la tierra puede que hayan diamantes o rocas ígneas de las que provienen los volcanes. Al pasar un poco de tiempo, notarás que ya no estás tan enojado, porque tu amígdala ha sido obligada a enfocarse en el espacio debajo de tus pies.
The last thing you do is counting colors. Some people really like a certain color. They like green, so they'll look around the room for everything that's green. Some people really like yellow, so they'll look around the room for everything that's yellow. Some people like all the colors, so they'll just acknowledge what things are what color. But all of these things make your amygdala think about colors instead of your fractions test, and how angry you are that you don't know the answer, and how afraid you are that your parents are going to yell at you. Because your amygdala can't think about both. So if you focus yourself to think about colors for just a few seconds, you'll find that your body starts to calm down, and you can manage that anger, and sometimes even that fear.
La cuarta y final sugerencia es que cuentes todas las cosas que tengan color en el cuarto. Puedes encontrar algo rojo, color naranja, amarillo. Continúa así hasta que encuentres algo de cada color. Luego trata y busca todo en el cuarto que sea azul. Practica y trátalo. Estas son las 4 sugerencias que puedes tratar cuando empiezas a sentirte enojado o con miedo. Siempre queremos orar y pedirle a Dios que nos ayude. Así que cuando intentes alguna de estas sugerencias, no te olvides de pedirle a Dios que te ayude.
So those are 4 tricks that you can do when you're angry and when you're upset. What I want you to try is to see if any of them gives you like a kind of tingly feeling, like it really seems to help you. Even if you're not mad right now, something about it just kind of like feels like a nice deep breath. Chances are that's the one that'll help you even when you're angry. All right, Journey Kids, thanks for listening to us. We're gonna make a craft and remember all 4 of the tips that I just taught you about how to help when you're feeling really, really angry. We always want to pray and ask God to help us. So when you're trying these things, don't forget to ask God to help you too. Thanks for listening.